message today as we interview this fabulous entrepreneur. So, as many of you may know by now, and for those of you that don't, I'll make the introduction. The Phenomenal Woman Empowerment Network, we have a wonderful new program. It's called our Secure the Bag Business Showcase. And with this program, each month we are showcasing a different small business, a different entrepreneur. We want to raise awareness of our small businesses. We really want the opportunity to support these entrepreneurs financially and by raising the awareness of their business. Some of you are entrepreneurs. Look, it is for some entrepreneurs, this is a great time. For other entrepreneurs, they're still struggling with stabilizing their business. One of the missions of the Phenomenal Woman Empowerment Network is that we want to help women increase and stabilize and grow their economic status. That's important to us. We want to make sure that no woman is left behind, no business is left behind. And when we lock arms together, we can pull each other up and we can all make it to the top together. So this business showcase allows us to throw our support behind an entrepreneur, behind a small business for the month and just push them up as far and as high as we possibly can. And I love it. I just love this program. Absolutely amazing. So this is our second month. And this entrepreneur she's just such a sweetheart and has such a big heart and truly cares about people. I was excited to be able to host her and conduct this interview with her and have her be PWIN's Business of the Month for October. So I am presenting to those of you that may not know her, a wonderful woman, Dr. Jamila Williams. She is the CEO of You Are Able, A.B.L.E, because it's an acronym, You Are Able, LLC. And she has written a book with the same title, You Are Able. So we're going to talk to Dr. J. We're going to learn a little bit. We finally call her Dr. J. We're going to learn a little bit more about her, but we're going to get into the topic of her book, which is so timely and so relevant. Just exciting, all things good. And then you all have the great opportunity to be able to go to her website, learn more, engage, share, but more so, purchase her book. Look, we've been purchasing her book through Amazon. They've had to go and order some more. So they got some more on the way. So we want to do that. We want Amazon to have to order because we are supporting. And remember what I always say, and I'll remind us at the end. You may hear the topic and say, okay, that's a topic that is not pulling me in. Buy the book. Holidays are coming up. Books make great gifts. They make great stocking stuffers. This could go into a stocking. You may have a girlfriend, you may have a male friend that they're going through something, and this would be a perfect gift to hand to them as they're going through their season where this would speak to them. You got white elephant gifts that are coming up, just all sorts of ways. I love purchasing books because I can raffle them off. I can give them away as door prizes and all those sorts of things, and they're valuable, and I'm supporting an author. So just get the book, just go order the book, okay? And so we will definitely have the link. It's available on Amazon, but in the comments below, we will have the link so you'll be able to go right to it. Now, with that said, welcome, Dr. J.
Well, thank you, Ms. Cherise. I'm honored to be a part of this showcase.
It's so wonderful to have you here. So we're going to dive in, and I'm just going to ask you to take a few minutes and introduce yourself to the people. You know, who are you? Where are you from? What do you do? Who's Dr. J? Talk to us for a little bit.
All right. Well, first of all, I have to share why they call me Dr. J. In 2011, I received my doctorate degree in educational leadership, specializing in curriculum and instruction. So that's why they call me Dr. J. And I was so excited about the number of people that came out and celebrated me as I walked at the University of Phoenix Well, it used to be the University of Phoenix Stadium, but it's something different now. So I originally came from Oregon. I had a 30-year career as a teacher and then went into administration. And I always stayed in high need areas, high poverty areas, because I felt that's where I was needed and that's where my skills and expertise could come from. I often remember when I was teaching a 5th grade class, and the girls, when you're talking to the young ladies and you're trying to get them to think about what do they want to do for the future. And they're like, oh, I just want to be a mom, or I just, not that being a mom is bad because I'm a mom. But I mean, that was their aspiration in 5th grade. That was all they saw themselves doing, was being a mom, nothing else. And, or, if it was a boy, well, I'm gonna be a basketball player. Do you realize that not everybody gets in there? So I've always had that heart for people that are in need, because I went through experiencing of that. I was in that line getting that cheese and everything else with my mom. So I know how that is. But every time they'd come up with an excuse, I'd say, well, I went through that. And look at me. Well, I went through that. So it was just a way of stopping that mindset of, well, I can't do any better. So I took that, and when I became a principal, I got a group of women together from my community. And I had to really, wrote and got a grant because I had to pay them, I had to provide childcare, and I had to feed them and their children. Because some of those women were in a situation where their husbands would not have allowed them to participate if all those things weren't taken care of. So I had to take care of all those things. But there were 12 women, and we had the best time of learning how they could feel good about who they are, and they could be productive in their community and be an asset. And one of the last things that I wanted to do, but the grant was over, was to provide an opportunity to empower them in a home-based business. And I was going to, have different home-based businesses come and also train them on how to interview, how to dress for an interview, all those things. And it was going to be a mentoring program for an entire year, so that the women wouldn't have to worry about paying fees or buying materials or anything like that. But before that happened, before I could write the grant, they came to me and said, you know what? You've done your 30 years. You can retire early. I thought, Now I love these women now, don't get me wrong, but I can retire? I said, bye. And I retired early. But the thing I didn't realize, Sharice, is that when you're 55, there is no Social Security. And it's a long time away for that Social Security. So I was retired, I was excited, but then the money started, the bills came, and the money wasn't the same as principal pay. And, I thought retirement, my pension, oh yeah, I got this covered. Yeah, pension pay is not the same. So I knew I needed to do something. And that got me into doing what I'm doing now. Is I'm in the travel business, but I'm using that to empower women into business. But now taking that along back to the book, my mother was highly supportive. I'm an only child, and my mom was my cheerleader, my best bud, my road dog, all of that. And she even was living with me. And so we were working together to help me achieve in the business that I'm in. And, I was like, yeah, Mom, that's what we're going to do. And I was working so hard that sometime I wasn't home with her like I should have been. And in 2016, my mother's sister was sick. She had a stroke in that January of 2016. Mom and I went up there, we saw her, spent time, and we came back home. Well, in July, the doctors were saying, doesn't look like she's gonna make it. And so my mom, it was her last sibling. And so we went up there because my mom wanted to see her siblings, say goodbye, all those things. Lo and behold, my aunt was not the one that passed away. My mom and I were sharing a room, sharing a bed. And so one night, before we went to bed, she had been just really agitated, just agitated. And I'm like, Mom, what's wrong? What are you doing? She was packing everything. I'm ready to go. I'm out of here. And we weren't leaving till the day after that. So instead of, resting and everything, she was just agitated. And she had a leftover salad from Wendy's. And she started getting sick. She was nauseous and everything. Well, I thought, well, Mom, what's wrong? She's like, oh, it's just that salad. It probably was tainted, went through all that. I got her some 7-Up or, something to help. You know how you do. You get them bubbles out because you think it's indigestion. And yes, she was spitting up and things like that. But see, I didn't know that women have different heart attack symptoms than men. And everything she was doing was signaling a heart attack. But we didn't know it because there was no chest pain, there was no pain in the arm, and none of that. So she kept saying, go to sleep, go to sleep. So that night, it was like I couldn't wake up. I mean, I'd go to sleep, I'd wake up, and I'd try to tend to my mom, but I could not wake up. I kept going back to sleep. And so then I heard a really deep, like an exhale. And I thought, now that's kind of strange to be coming from my mom. What's that? And then I didn't hear anything else. So I went back to sleep. Then I heard it again, but this time it was even deeper. And I'm like, wait a minute. I got up, I turned around and looked. And I was like, Mom, wake up. You nudge somebody, nothing, no movement. And so I nudged her again, picked up her hand, limp. I went into panic mode. I went to my cousin's room, who was a prison guard. So I knew she knew CPR because I didn't. And I was like, Mom, stop breathing. So she came in and she was doing CPR and it wasn't working. And so she had me call emergency. And of course, I'm at my cousin's, so I have no idea where I'm at. But we got through and the ambulance came and they couldn't bring her back. And they're like, well, we're going to take her to the hospital. And me, I wanted to ride with them. And they're like, no. So we all left. And when we got to the hospital, they had resuscitated her. But if you know anything about CPR, if they're really doing it right, they broke her ribs. And one of her ribs punctured her lung. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And so they said, well, we're going to do this experimental thing where they lowered her body temperature. I couldn't touch her. They lowered it down and then brought it back up so that, to give her brain time to do what it would do. That didn't work. I mean, I stayed in the hospital with my mom, I think it was 2 weeks. And they're like, well, you have to leave. I said, no, I don't. I had 2 chairs. I put them chairs together, said, bring me a blanket, and I slept there. Eventually, they brought me a sleeping chair because they saw I wasn't going anywhere.
You weren't going nowhere.
Nowhere, girl. And I tried to tell in my mind, Mama's going to wake up. So I was talking to her like, everything's good. It's all going to be good. Just hurry up and wake up. And day went and day went and day went. And my cousins came and they, it was God because I was right there where my cousins were because I had no family in Arizona. So we went through that. And unfortunately, none of it worked. And my mom passed.
Okay, so I'm going to stop you right there.
Okay.
So, I ordered Dr. J's book. I got the book on Sunday. Dr. J and I were talking about, preparing for the interview on today. So I said, I'm going to read the book so I'll be able to, ask you questions, dialogue, etc. And I read your foreword where you shared the story of what you just said, a little bit, it's impactful. I read this and I got chills, like tears came to my eyes. It took me like right back to when my mother passed away. The emotion that I could feel the emotion. I could feel the emotion in the book. I could feel your emotion, and it transported me to a time. And so just well done. I mean, it was very, I could feel the emotion. Um, I wanted to chime in because one of the things that you said in the book is that, you know, I identify with this emotion because I said and felt the same way. Once your mother transitioned, you were like, I want to go with you. Like, what's going on? Like, my world has just been wrecked. It has just like been turned upside down. I remember saying the same thing. I wanted to literally climb in the casket with my mom, and they had to say, is that really what you want? I was like, yeah, because your pain is so deep and you just, you want to be with that person physically. And I love what you said, because you said after you did all your crying out, and was like, how am I going to make it? What am I going to do? She's been my life. You went through that whole transition and God spoke to you.
You are able. And he did. And I kept hearing that. And like I did say in the book, I was like, Lord, you got the wrong girl here, because this one isn't able to do anything. And it just kept resonating, kept resonating. And I started looking up able. And for it to be in a end of a word part.
Right.
And I came up with capable. I was like, okay, and just all of those, I can't even think of them now, but there were so many that just came and they just kept flooding my mind. But Sharice, it took me 2 years after my mom passed before I could get myself together enough to write the book. And even while writing the book, there were times I had to stop because the pain, I was reliving the emotions and the pain. And I'm glad that you said that, because that was my hope, that the pain that I felt, the agony, the hopelessness would come across in the book, because I want people that are going through that to know they're not alone.
It was healing. As you were writing this, it was part of your healing process as well. So it became just it became part of your evolution in your healing process, which is what made it, so awesome. I don't want to give away too much because y'all need to go buy this book, and it's $10 on Amazon. So y'all go buy the book. But I do want to touch on the acronym because it's awesome. So you are able. So the A stands for awesome. But I love that each chapter you start with a scripture. Yes. And so for your awesome, it's I will praise you because I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. And that is the NIV version, Psalm 139 and verse 14. So you got to get the book and you got to read it. But one of the things that you say is, in order to be awesome, we have to identify our strengths and weaknesses. Why do you feel that is, it correlates to being awesome? How does that help us by identifying our strengths and weaknesses?
Well, I think when you're identifying your strengths, it's building up, it's building you up, and you're layering. Well, I can do this and I can do that. And, I never thought about it, but I'm good at this. And people are always asking me to do that. And so you're building yourself up. I know in the Bible, it talks about, encouraging yourself. And that's what happens when you identify your strength. You're encouraging yourself because you realize there's good in you. And if God had not intended for you to have a mission, you wouldn't still be here. So you're here because you have something to do. You have something to give to others. And so that's why your strengths are important. And I always say weaknesses as they're your growth areas. And you need to know them because if you're not strong in an area, then you need to either study, research, get someone else to help you in those areas. And I know PWIN does a lot of that, of giving you that knowledge and that encouragement that you need so that you can build and grow. Because one of those growth areas may be what you need to get you to that next level. And so that's why you need those, because when you know who you are and whose you are, and you know, okay, I might need to work on organization, but I can do da 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 da, then you are awesome because you see yourself as awesome. You see yourself as able to do whatever it is God wants you to do. So that's why I feel that both those steps are very important.
You preaching now. You
All right.
I'm trying my best to be contained because this is your interview. But yes, it's so true because when you here's something that so many, especially women, I think women do it more than men, but we're all subject to it, is we compare ourselves to other people.
Yes.
But what we do is we compare our weakness to their strength.
Yes.
Of course, that's unbalanced. When you're clear on your strengths, you can now look at your strengths and look at the strengths of other people. But you're operating from a place of strength instead of focusing on your areas of opportunity, on those areas of weakness. But a lot of times we are crystal clear about our weaknesses. And when you ask people what their strengths are, they start stuttering because we haven't taken the time to really say, what am I good at? What am I passionate about? What do I like most about myself? And so because of that, we think that everybody else is the bomb.com. Everybody else has it going on. When you got it going on, you are awesome. You have strengths, you have gifts. There's things that you're passionate about, and the world is waiting for that. Like we was waiting on your book. You had it in you. You were awesome. But you had to go through your process in order to push the book out and to give it birth.
But you know something, Sharice, the thing about it, I love what you said about how we compare our growth areas to their strengths. And a lot of times when you ask people, well, what are you good at? They feel like they're bragging. So it's like, well, I can kind of do this a little bit instead of embracing it as a strength. And so it's very important to embrace your strength as your strength. And it's not bragging. It's just realizing that you have good in you. You have strength in you that other people, like you said about my book, that other people are waiting for. And so you have to recognize the good in you.
Dr. J, even if it is bragging, I say brag on. If you don't toot your own horn, if you don't brag, if you don't talk about it, how will other people know? And also, it helps you to build confidence. Okay. And so I say brag on. I love to hear people, excelling in their strength and being able to talk about that. Brag on, because it lets me know that you've tapped in to what makes you unique, what makes you awesome, what makes you different from, someone else who may be doing the very same thing. It lets me know where you are. Okay. So I say brag on yourself. Look, you better love yourself, brag on yourself, be confident in your gifts and be confident in those things that you do well. Because that's what makes you who you are. And God gave you the gifts, the talent, the passion, the dreams, whatever it is, he gave it to you because he knew that you would know what to do with it. Now, what I say is if you do all that bragging and you do all that talking, you just need to be able to deliver. And if it's your strength, you can deliver. So look, it's all good. I love it. I love it. So chapter 2, so the B Enable is for bold. You
Yes.
are bold. And one of my favorite scriptures in 2 Timothy 1:7, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of sound mind. Um, Again, you got to order the book so you can read it. But what I will point out is that kind of toward the end of that chapter, you say, as you begin to pick up the pieces of your life, remember that everyone handles a loss or a tragic event differently. Do not let anyone tell you how long you should take. A lot of factors determine how a person handles a traumatic situation. You are the only one who knows exactly how you feel. If you feel that you need to consult a doctor, go ahead. He or she may know of a support group or counselor who may be just the help that you need. You do not have to go through the grief and change process alone. Embrace your support team and others who love and care about you. And remember, you are bold.
That's right. That's right. And that I really, when I wrote that, I felt that because I mean, like I said, it was 2 years before I started writing. And people, meaning well, will come up, well, it's been 2 years, you should be all right. No, it was my mom. I'm the only child. No. And people want to expedite your progress, your grief, as making it sound like, well, if it's your mom, you can grieve this long. If it's your husband, you can grieve this long. If it's, I mean, it's like, really? And that was one of the things that was so important for me to learn is that, first of all, everybody grieves differently.
Right.
Some people can have a loss and they're just out there a week later carrying on as if nothing. Other people, like I withdrew. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to see, except for my kids. I didn't want to see anybody, nothing. I just wanted to be by myself, wishing I was with my mom. And that's good and bad because it's okay to withdraw for a bit. But if you stay there too long, you're going to make a camp in the valley and then you can't get out of it. So, you have to regulate yourself, but know that everyone is different and you are to use as long as you need to, as long as you're not going too dark, deep in the valley, but you recover at your time. Don't let anyone tell you how long it should be. Reach out and get that help. And it's okay to be in a support group or to have a counselor or even to your doctor. And, there's some medications that, that you can get. It is okay because you have to handle your grief your way.
Right.
And so that is really important. And your family and friends, they mean well, but you may have to just tell them, look, I'm needing this time. I'm doing this. I appreciate your help and support, but the best way you can help me is blah, 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 however that is. And only you know that. So that's why I really, and you've got to be bold, Cherise.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't, then you're all into what other people say, and then you're feeling bad. Well, darn, they said I should be over it by now, but I'm not. I'm still hurting. Well, that must mean I'm a bad person or I'm a wreck now. And you can't take that on. You have to be bold and stand up for yourself.
It's so good. I mean, so many of us need to hear that, especially, across this last year and a half. I mean,
Yes.
people are at so many different places in life, and you have to have the boldness to kind of take charge of where you are. So, I mean, it's a whole chapter on that, y'all. So y'all need to,
Yes.
I went ahead and typed in Dr. J's website. You can go to her website, learn more about her. The link is on there, or you can just go straight to Amazon to pick up the book. But I wanted to get that typed in. For those that are watching us live, go ahead and just order that book right now while we on here. Chapter 3, the L in A.B.L.E is you are legendary. Proverbs 13:22, a good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children. And look, if If you go to church, read the word, you know that scripture. Again, what stood out to me is where kind of in the middle of that chapter, you write, don't allow yourself to become a victim of identity theft. It is important that you know who you are and where you're going in life. When you know who you are and where you're going and why you are doing what you do, you have the vision to succeed and the passion to proceed daily, regardless of the situation or circumstances that you find yourself in. Drop the mic. You know, that'll preach like all by itself. I could just take that and do like a whole workshop. Okay. We
Right.
can do a whole season on that. But I love how you started that out. Don't become a victim of identity theft. It's important that you know who you are and where you're going in life. And that will help you be legendary. My t-shirt company, Not Now Apparel, we have a t-shirt that says live classic, die legendary. You
Wow.
know, leave that legacy, know what your life was all about and live it in a classic way, so much so that you become legendary. When
Right.
you transition, you've left this whole persona, you've left the universe with everything that God's given you. But elaborate on that, Dr. J. Talk to us.
Well, when you think of legendary, some people think, oh, that means the world knows you and you're a movie star or whatever. Not necessarily. I mean, that's okay. Now, I could say, Sharice, you already a legendary because you just mentioned P-Win and everybody knows. And if they don't, they should. But, think about legendary to whoever it is that God has given you to be legendary to. It might just be your children. In the foreword of the book, I put in, or in the dedications, my grandbabies' names, because I want them to know that their grandmother cared so much about them that they mentioned them in the book. So that when they think of their grandma, oh, my grandma was an author and I got the book to prove it. So if your legendary may be to your family, your legendary could be your church, it could be an organization, it could be the world. It's whatever God has put in you for your legendary to be. But whomever they are, God has assigned you to them and them to you. And one thing that was pointed out to me is if God has assigned these people to you and you don't step up to the plate to do what God had for you to do, well, all these people are missing out on what you were supposed to give them. So it's really kind of selfish not to be legendary to the tribe, the family that God has given you, because then you're telling God, well, yeah, you gave me these gifts and talents, going back to our strengths, Sharice, but I'm just going to keep them to myself, or I'm not going to use them at all. You can't do that because somebody out there needs you. And that's where the legendary for me comes in, whoever that someone is. And when I first announced the book, there was a young lady that went to my website and wrote to me. Now, she happened to be a young lady that lived down the street from me and my kids when they were young. I hadn't seen that young lady in years. She's a grown woman now, and she wrote to me and shared that she had lost both her parents. And by reading my book, it gave her the strength to realize she can go on. And if that's the only person that God wanted me to touch, I did what he wanted me to do. And if I hadn't wrote that book, it wouldn't have touched her.
Right.
So you never know who out there needs what you have. So you have to be legendary. You have to step up. You have to do what God has commissioned you to do. Back to you, Sharice.
When you're
I
bold,
gotta.
I know, right? Your boldness allows you to step into your legendary status. I mean, I just kind of got that as you were speaking. Because you're right. I say it all the time. There's somebody out there that they need exactly what God's given you. And you have to be awesome. You have to be bold, so that you can step out there and be legendary and be the expert, so that they can find you and get what they need that God gave you for them. Okay, so I know y'all wondering what the E stands for. So the E is for empowered. You are empowered. And of course, another one of our favorite scriptures, Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through
All
Christ
things.
who strengthens me. And so here's something that you wrote here. It says, as I began to set my goals, I knew I had two major ones. The first one was to write a book that would be a support and guide to others on how to pick up the pieces of their shattered lives and put those pieces together as they become whole again, ready to move forward with their lives and feel empowered as they begin a new chapter in their life. My second goal was to help as many women as possible to gain confidence in themselves and empower them to become successful business entrepreneurs. I believe that owning a business and making money might just be what someone needs to be able to feel accomplished and leave a legacy for their family and loved ones. Before you chime in on that, I kind of want to take a detour because that stood out to me in the book. But what I really want to talk about right here in the last few minutes before we get ready to wrap up this interview is you talk about helping women become empowered and helping those that will want to become business owners, helping them maybe make that transition. Those that want to be in business and maybe they don't know what they want to do, they just know that they want to be in business. One of the businesses that you're in is a travel business, and I want to bring this up and kind of make a point right here, because both of us are in the same travel business. You're the one who introduced me to Surge 365, and it's been one of the best decisions that I've made. But a lot of people are so, when they hear about a multi-level marketing organization or direct sales, they instantly think of pyramid scheme. They instantly think of, all the horrible things that have happened through a pyramid scheme, and they automatically shy away from multi-level marketing. Now we're in travel. There's lots of them. Paparazzi is a multi-level marketing. I mean, there's just lots of them out there. FES, they're out there. Okay. And but you were bold and you stepped into this business. You were an educator, you were a principal. It's not like you had always been in this space or that you had been an entrepreneur. You were, educating our babies, doing your thing. You were rising to the top of your game when you decided to retire. What would you want to say to someone who, maybe they want to start a business and it is a multi-level marketing business and they're hesitant. They think it's another pyramid thing. They think they're going to be scammed. And so they're shying away. They let people get in their ear and talk to them about it. And they're scared that they can't make money. Not only are you in the business, but you also rose to the status of a regional builder, and you're like just a stone's throw away from being a national builder, which is right under being a director. So you have not only started and dived into the business, you have rose in levels within the business. What would you say to that woman, that man that's listening to this, and they've been hesitant, they've been thinking about it, they need to make some additional income, whether it's part-time, full-time, or big time, as I like to say? What would you say to that person right now in the next minute or so?
What I would say is, one of the things I like about our company, Surge 365, is that you can choose if you want to do the direct sales part, or if you want to just do the travel agent part, or if you just want to enjoy the savings for your own self. And so you have choices to make. So if you're in a situation where there are choices, how can that be a pyramid? Because you don't have to do the direct sales part. The other thing I would say is that, like you said, there are so many direct sales companies out there. And people have gotten afraid of how it is, what, like you said, in the past. But I look at when you go to a job. Now, I know when I was a principal and I first started as a teacher, I had somebody over me and there was somebody over them. There was the principal, the teacher leader, then there was the assistant principal, then there was the principal, and then there's the school board, and then there's the state. And I couldn't just rise up to there. Me making as much money as a superintendent, that wasn't going to happen. It would cost me money and education. Now, when I retired, I could have been a superintendent. I had worked my way up. But with our business, it's not like that. You can come in at the direct sales level and you could become a director. I mean, you have all the capabilities and possibilities. So I would say check it out before you say no. Look into the compensation plan. Look into the products. If the company has products, it's not a pyramid because it has products. You're actually selling something. So check it out and don't be afraid. Find out, get all the information, and then make your decision. Because not all companies are the same. Not all travel companies are the same. Not all direct sales companies are the same. Do your research, get your information, talk to somebody that's in the business and that knows, and then make your decision. Ask all your questions, get them answered. But don't just sit and say, oh, no, can't do it. Find out, investigate.
Do your research, do your research, do your research.
Yes.
I love that you kind of set that straight because it's educational, right? It's really knowing. And what you said is really great. When people think of pyramid scheme, what they're thinking of is when somebody asks you for money. So they say, okay, Dr. J, you give me $1,000. Okay, Andrea, you give me $1,000. Okay, Johnny, you give me $1,000. I'm going to pay you interest on your money. Your money's going to grow. You're going to get all this interest back. You're going to make this money. Now I take Johnny's money. I take a portion of that. And that's what I use to now pay to Dr. J for her interest. And I got to keep bringing more people in and getting more money so I can pay everybody their money out. There's no product. There's no exchange of good. And so yes, that's how that all happens. That's a pyramid scheme. People have gone to prison. Direct sales, there is a product. If you're in Mary Kay, you are getting makeup. So you pay for your makeup, which is your product, and you get it. And then the person who sold you is a salesperson of Mary Kay. And the more they sell, the more they rise. The more they help other salespeople become makeup salespeople, they make money because now they're recruiting and helping other people start their business. No different in travel, right? So you can, start up your own booking site. You can receive a booking site. You can receive your wholesale site. You're receiving a product. And yes, when people book on your site, you will get a commission. And if you help other people become a travel advisor, travel agent, and own their own business, then you make a portion because now you have helped somebody else start their business.
And you have to train them.
Yes, and you train them and you support them and you do all those great things. So it's really not as complicated as we make it.
It is not.
If someone, okay, so let's say that there's someone who they know what their business is, but they just need support, they need assistance. Are you able to assist them? Are you able to assist them as well?
Now that's the part that I'm developing because yes, I want to be able to support them as well. And through my partnership with PWIN, as well as several other organizations, I do plan to have that access available because we have to support all business owners. We have a showcase on Mondays and we allow business owners to come and share. It's free. All you have to do is contact me. And you're able to share your business. You have 5 minutes, present your business. So we work to support all women business owners and men, What'd you say, Therese? And a few good
And
men.
a few good men, and a few good men. I absolutely love it. Also, Dr. J has a, we call them white paper, but she has a white paper that's coming out, Shattered to Empowered, that will be available soon on her site. And it gives you the steps, it outlines the steps. So make sure that you go to her website. I've already typed it in. It is youareable.life. And make sure that you go make sure that you go there and that you subscribe to her newsletter so that you can be connected to her. You know when workshops are coming up, you know when events may be coming up. If you have questions, if you want to ask and need some support, whatever it may be. Also, there's a link on there to her book, or you can just go directly to Amazon and pick up her book. But that white paper is Shattered to Empowered. And it's not easy to go from being shattered to going to be empowered. You got to put in the work, but she has some steps that you can take that will help you put in that work. And she closes her book by saying, I pray that by the time you complete this book, you realize that you are awesome, bold, legendary, and empowered because you are able. So smile. And so it's just really good. I mean, we gave you guys some nuggets, but you just got to go. You got to order the book. It's an easy read. It's not going to take you, a long time to get through it. I think it's like 34, 35 pages.
Right.
So it's an easy read, but it's powerful. You may know somebody. Here's what I say. If you have experienced a loss, and no matter what the loss is, whether it's person, job, relationship, whatever that loss may be, or if you're feeling defeated, or if you feel like you're taking on something and you feel like you're insufficient for what you're taking on, this is the book for you. This is a great book specifically for you. If you know somebody who's going through that, purchase the book, give it to them as a gift. It will be a blessing to them. Absolutely, positively. You Are Able. Check it out. You can go to youareable.life. You can also go to Amazon and order the book directly from Amazon. Dr. J is our spotlight, our business showcase for October. We're just excited. We want all of you that you're watching this, you're listening to us, support Dr. J. Support by purchasing her book and raising awareness. So if you see the flyer, share the flyer. If you're watching this interview, share this interview. That helps to raise awareness. But then also go buy the book. It's $10. Go buy the book. Okay. If you really want to support this entrepreneur, go buy the book. We would love to send her book on Amazon to bestseller status. Okay. We've already made a dent because they've already had to order some more books. So we would love to lift her book to bestseller status on Amazon. And we all can make that happen for this wonderful, wonderful woman who is powerful, who cares so much about us. So, Dr. J, thank you so much. We have like another minute left for any final words that you have. And then, y'all, we're going to wrap this up and close up this interview.
Well, I just want to thank you, Cherise, for believing in me and seeing the good in me. I really appreciate that it's been several years since we've been together now. But I just really want to say, if you're out there and you just don't know what to do, get the book and read it. And, I'm not a counselor. I'm not going to take that on, but I can listen and I can help you as you're walking through your steps. So on my site, there's where you can make an appointment. So if you'd like to do that and talk with me, I'm more than available through those appointment times. So thank you again, Cherise. Thank you, everybody. And I pray that the book is a blessing to everyone that God has made it to be a blessing to. Thank you.
Amen. That's so powerful. Yes, schedule your appointment. We have some people who are watching live, Dr. J. They said they are going to order that book right now. It's absolutely a great book. We appreciate you again. You all support Dr. J. And yes, she is a PWIN partner. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Support her, make it happen. I mean, she's been supporting PWIN since we met, since 2000 and 2016, into 2015. And so
Yeah.
she's been connected. She supports so many other people. She's always supporting somebody else. This is our time to support you, Dr. J.
Thank
You are always in that supporting role. You make things happen for everybody else. We want to make this happen for you. So thank you for all that you do and how you empower and support everybody. Everyone, thank you for watching. We appreciate you. And until next time, love you, adore you, kisses, good vibes, good energy, all those things. And we'll be talking to you all soon.
All right, goodbye. Thank you,
Bye.
Sharice.
Woo, woo,
Bye.
woo.